well, let's go ahead and get started. So you have been working so hard on parts of speech that this week we're going to take a break from parts of speech. We will talk a little bit about adjectives and adverbs, but we're going to put those skills to practice. And so I have an assignment called a RAFT assignment. RAFT stands for 4 things, and I'll teach you each of these as we go. Stands for role, audience, format, and then also the topic that you're going to be writing about. But before you do your writing, you have to do a reading, and the reading and also the rubric for this assignment are posted to the Google Classroom. So I will share that screen. Hold on just a sec. Let's see, who's the host right now? Can somebody make me a host? All right, cool. Okay, so composition 1, click on classwork, and you'll see that we've got 2 different things here for the RAFT assignment. First is the RAFT resources. You are going to be in a small group, and you're going to read an article that was done for the, it was through NPR, and it's called, "Is It Time to Kill the Penny?" And as you're reading through this, you're going to hear an argument for eliminating pennies and against eliminating pennies. And your writing assignment is going to be that you are going to do some writing from the perspective of the penny, and you're going to be arguing that you should not be eradicated, that you need to stick around. So you're going to do some role playing. You're going to become the penny. You know what I'm talking about, like the 1-cent piece. Okay, and you're going to argue why you still have value and why you're still important and why you should still be a part of the currency. So if you guys will do me a favor, I want you to go to your classroom, click on the RAFT assignment, and then you're going to click on this resource. It's going to pull up this article. It says, "Is it time to kill the penny?" And then I'm going to put you into small groups where you're going to popcorn read if you want to, I don't care. But you need to read and discuss this. Now, as you're reading and discussing this particular article, I want you to write down different reasons why the penny should still exist, because remember, you're going to be writing from the perspective of the penny. And this is going to tell you why the penny should be abolished, but also why it should still be around. So write those things down, and then we'll meet together as a whole group, and I'll explain your writing assignment to go with it. Okay, so let's get to the small group breakouts. And I'm going to do.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Do we like talk out with our team? Like write
yes.
It out back?
Absolutely. You're going to read through this document together as a team, and you're going to write down as many, reasons as you can come up with to defend yourself, okay? Because you are the penny and you want to still be in existence here in America. All right, so I'm going to do 4 rooms. And by the way, some other guiding questions before I put you in this group. So if you go back to the classroom, you could also click on the RAFT rubric. Whoops, let me pull that up. And then it'll tell you some discussion questions. So if you all want to go through these, you can go through these discussion questions as well. So describe me. If your role is the penny, describe who you are as a penny. What feelings do you have? What information do you want to convey in your writing? We'll get into that kind of stuff later, but there is some cool discussion stuff in here too. But right now you're reading this assignment, or I'm sorry, this article as a group, and you're writing down reasons to keep the penny around in existence. So let's go back to your notes. I hope that you enjoyed that reading. I hope it was somewhat interesting to you. Raise your hand if you have heard that debate before, if you're familiar with this debate. Okay, so a few of you already had some experience with it. Well, let's go through the argumentation that you just kind of read about. What are the reasons to kill the penny, and what are the reasons to keep the penny? And let's list some of those out. So what are some things that you read about?
The copper industry is going down.
Okay, is that a reason to kill the penny or a reason to keep the penny?
To kill the penny.
Explain.
Because we're spending all of our copper on pennies instead of other things that we need.
Okay, and what could those things be used on?
Wiring, other things. I know wiring is something important.
So how many pennies do we make in a year? Did it say? Like how many pennies we're responsible for?
I think it said 7 billion this year.
Okay, and if we remove those 7 billion pennies, or whatever it happened to say, do you think that's going to impact the copper industry in that way too?
Yes.
And if we, okay, so would people eventually like lose jobs in the copper industry maybe?
Yeah.
Okay, so even if somebody argues there's better uses for the copper, if right now we take out the use that we have for pennies, do you think that's going to hurt the copper industry?
Probably.
Okay, so that might also be something that works in favor of keeping the penny as well. What else did you read about? Someone new.
Cost more to make the penny than it does, like than the penny actually was worth.
Okay, so it costs more to make the penny. Okay. And then you're talking about worth. So what is a penny worth?
1 cent.
Okay, in terms of money, you're right, it's worth 1 cent. How much does it cost to make the penny?
About 2 cents.
About 2 cents. Okay, so that's the cost of the penny. But in terms of worth, oftentimes we think of like monetary value, but do you think that the penny also holds some patriotic value as well?
Yeah, I mean it has Abraham Lincoln's face on it, so
Okay, and why is that important?
he was a very inspirational president.
Okay, so it's a way that we're honoring a person who is credited with emancipating people that were in bondage, slavery, right? So I mean that's a pretty big deal. I mean that could also argue, we could say, well, the penny in terms of dollars and cents may represent $2 in or I'm sorry, 2 cents in cost, but it's still very worthwhile when it comes to the patriotism behind it or what it actually stands for. Okay, what else did you read? After reading this, would you argue that we should keep the penny, or would you argue that we should kill the penny? Jenny, you said keep. Why?
Because then a lot of people will be losing their jobs, and like if you have something that's like on like a price tag for like $5.99 or like $5.98 or something like that, then you can't just use like a penny. You'll have to use like something else. Like if you use like
Yeah, if we take away the penny, do you think that companies are going to round down their cost? So like, here's an example. If I charge you 99 cents for a pencil and then the pennies get eradicated, they just go away, do you think I'm going to start charging you $1 for the pencil or 95 cents for the pencil?
you're gonna start charging $1.
Yeah, I'm probably going to round up, right? So not only is the penny keeping a lot of jobs in the copper industry, not only is the penny worth something in terms of like American spirit and being a memorial to Abraham Lincoln, but it also is worth something to the spender too. It keeps our cost stable instead of, you know, spending a penny more per item, I guess. But, you know, you think about a penny and you think, well, that's not a lot. But if it's a penny on every single thing that you buy, then it starts to add up over time, right? So that could be another argument for the penny as well. Other thoughts? I haven't heard from Alyssa, Brianna, Anya Sophia, Rain, any of you?
I think that they should eradicate it.
You think it should be eradicated? Okay. All right. So tell me why.
It's costing the US money and it's worth essentially nothing. And a lot of people throw it away, which is just wasting money.
Oh, do you see how that could be used as a counter argument then? So earlier when we said, yeah, but it's going to cost the consumer 1 cent more for every item bought, you could say, yes, but as it stands, it's costing us in terms of our tax dollars because our taxes are what goes into making this money in the first place. So we'd actually be saving money. So that's a cool argument. That's neat. Other thoughts? Rain, are you for it or against it? Should we keep it or should we eliminate it?
I don't know.
Okay. How about you, Rain?
I feel like we should keep it.
And do you have other reasons for keeping it, or are they pretty much the same as everyone else?
They're pretty much the same.
Okay, so let's talk about then, and I know I didn't get to everybody here for the discussion, but let's talk about your writing assignment. So what I want you to do now is look at the page that I posted. It's called the Raft assignment. It's like a PDF document. And I'll pull that up here too. And some of this is going to be kind of given to you. Like I already know what your role is going to be. You're going to play the part of a penny. But the format, the audience, and the topic, I might be willing to negotiate. But first of all, let's go through some of these questions, like describe me and what feelings do I have and how that relates to the writing assignment. So where it says role, again, everybody is going to be writing from the perspective of you are a penny. Your format of writing, you can choose one of 3 options, and you should write these down right now. You can write an editorial, which is like a column that would go into a newspaper. Particularly, it would be a column that goes into the NPR newspaper and it responds to this article. So you're a penny, you've just read the newspaper and you've read this article, and now you get to respond to it and tell the editor of the newspaper why you, well, I'm gonna actually open this up. You can go why you agree or disagree. So you could be a penny. At first my thought was you're a penny that wants to stay around, but if you're a penny that feels comfortable with ousting yourself, then I guess you can write that. So the first one would be an editorial. The second thing, the second format that you could choose would be a letter, which you already have experience with. And this letter would be addressed to Congress. So the editorial is a newspaper column that's addressed to the writer of that particular article that you just read. But if you choose to do a letter, then you're going to address that to like our legislators, people in Congress. And you're going to be advocating that you are ousted or that you're kept. And then the last format, if you want, would be a speech. So this speech, here your audience would be to the other coins. So I want you to think about that. So one more time, let's go through these options. Everybody is going through the role of the penny. You are a penny. You have some options in terms of your format. If you choose to write a letter, who is your audience for the letter? Someone.
The Congress.
Good. If you write an editorial, who are you writing that editorial to?
Newspaper.
Yep, the writer of that news article that you just read, okay? And if you write a speech, who is your speech going to be delivered to?
Different like other coins.
Other coins and other currency, okay? So now you have a role, you have an audience, and you have a format. The last thing that you need to think about is your topic. And again, that's really going to be your position. So the topic is that you should keep me alive or you should kill me. Does that make sense? So from those options, let's look at some of these particular questions and how you would respond to them, but I need somebody to volunteer. Has someone already chosen whether you're going to do like a speech, a letter, or an editorial? I gotta get this screen to be bigger. What are you choosing to do? Anya Sophia, can you tell me what you've chosen?
I'm gonna write an editorial.
Okay, so you're the penny writing an editorial that responds to the news article. And now tell me your topic. Are you going to keep the penny or do you want to abolish the penny?
Probably keep.
Keep the penny. Okay, so what feelings do you have? After you read that article, what feelings did you have as a penny?
Probably like anger.
Anger. outrage. Perhaps you were offended. Can you find specific statements in there that really got you fired up, or that really just like, that's just bizarre and not true, that you totally disagree with?
Not yet, but I've only read it once.
That's okay. You can go back to it and you can look. So anyway, the point is that you have a role, you have an audience, you have a format, and you have a topic. You can use those questions that are outlined there to help you as you brainstorm. So what are the words, this goes for everybody, what are the words or ideas that you want to use to get your point across? What do you know about your particular audience? So like if you're doing the editorial, you know what the person wrote about. If you're writing to congressmen, maybe you know something about them. What do you already know about your audience? And then this last one says, what do you already know about the format and how it might look? So the point here is that you want to dig deep into each of those 4 areas. Now your assignment's listed on Classroom, and it says the raft assignment. You'll just click on that and then click on your assignment, and that's where you're going to write this out. In terms of doing things that you already know, look at the feedback that I gave you on your letter. Look at the feedback that I gave you on some of your other writing activities. For example, you did a review and you did a letter, and I gave some of you some real specific feedback. Like for example, on that last assignment that you just received, I went through like the first 4 or 5 lines and I highlighted all of the verbs. And many of you had a comment that said you're using all linking verbs and they're not real exciting because they're not action verbs that I can see. So look at some of that feedback that I gave you. On this particular assignment, I want you to use vivid nouns, vivid pronouns. I want you to use vivid visible verbs, action verbs, okay? And make it really, really interesting. So you can use some of the feedback that I gave you on your older assignments to help you out with this one too. Incorporate lots of those adjectives and adverbs as you're writing. Do you have any questions over this? All right, well, you've got some time right now to get started. And as we'll probably close class down here in about 15-ish minutes, but we'll keep open here. And as you have questions or something, just let me know, okay? As you all are working, I'm going to send some direct messages to some of you individually and just kind of touch base on some of your other assignments, okay? And then really, I guess, after I've kind of touched base with you each individually, Dan, is there any announcement that you need to give them, or are they good?
No, we have study hall again at 1 o'clock. If anybody has homework, it doesn't have to be just for this class. It can be any
Sure.
class. If you'd like to help get caught up, please come to study hall at 1 o'clock today.